The Violet Directive. Commander David Chun had witnessed many things in his 30 years policing the distant colonies, but nothing prepared him for the girl with lavender skin and feline airs waiting in the holding corridor of Station Kira. She looked no older than 19, dressed in a standard orange detainee uniform that hung loosely on her frame. Her golden eyes met his with surprising steadiness for someone awaiting deportation. Mira Voss, he read from his data pad, his voice echoing through the sterile passageway. Unauthorized planetary entry, forged identity chips, and breach of the species integration statute. I know what I did, she replied quietly. Her tone carried an accent he couldn't identify, melodic and exact. David studied her features. The alterations were unmistakable. Her feline traits and violet skin revealed her as one of the adapted humans enhanced during the desperate era of colony expansion. People his age remembered when such genetic changes were considered vital to survive hostile worlds. Now they were outlawed remnants of a past the Earth Council wanted erased. You're being returned to Vidian 7. Tomorrow, he said, keeping his tone official. There's nothing I can do. I understand, Mira answered, her ears dropping slightly. But, Commander, may I ask one question before you leave? He hesitated, then nodded. Do you remember what it was like when humanity needed us? When we volunteered to be changed so the colonies could live? David's jaw tightened. He did remember. His own sister had been among the adapted, engineered to endure the radiation storms on Kepler Station. She died there alone after the Council declared such enhancements unethical and cut support to those colonies. That was different, he said softly. Was it? Mira stepped closer to the force field between them. We surrendered our humanity to save human worlds. Now, those same worlds won't even let us walk their streets. Her words struck something deep. David had spent 3 decades enforcing laws he no longer believed in. He told himself it was duty, honor, protocol. But standing here, looking at this young woman who reminded him so much of the sister he lost, he felt the weight of every compromise he'd made. Why did you come here? He asked. To Earth Station. You must have known you'd be caught. Myra's expression softened. My grandmother lives in the agricultural sector. She's 93 and dying. I haven't seen her in 12 years, not since the restrictions began. I only wanted to say goodbye. Something inside him fractured. He thought of his own mother, gone 5 years now. He'd been on patrol when she passed, too far to return in time. He never forgave himself. Did you see her? He heard himself ask. For 3 hours, Mira said with a gentle smile that transformed her entirely. She made me tea. We talked about everything and nothing. She told me she was proud of me. That was enough. David turned away, staring out the curved viewport showing Earth's blue-green shimmer below. Somewhere down there, the council members who wrote these laws lived comfortably, never forced to enforce them, never forced to meet the eyes of those they punished. What would you do? He asked quietly. If you could stay? I'd accept any terms, she answered. Instantly. Any job, any district. I'd submit to monitoring. I just want to be part of the world my grandmother helped build. David closed his eyes. In his office, waited a report. He could file one, recommending clemency. Such requests were rarely granted, but sometimes when an officer with enough authority cited genuine humanitarian grounds, exceptions happened. He'd never filed one, never risked his career, his reputation, his steady position of practiced neutrality. But he was 56, and he was tired of being neutral about what mattered. Officer Chun, Mira called as he began to walk away. Whatever you decide. Thank you for listening. Most people don't anymore. He paused, turning back. In the harsh corridor lighting, her violet skin seemed to glow faintly, her golden eyes shimmering with held-back tears, but also with dignity and quiet resolve. If someone offered conditional residency, he said slowly, with strict monitoring, limited travel, and mandatory community service, would you take it? Her breath hitched. I'd accept your offer, she whispered, in a heartbeat. And everything changed. 3 months later, David stood in the same corridor, now converted into temporary housing for conditional residents. Mira had just completed her first month of service in the agricultural sector, working beside the grandmother she had risked everything to see. Commander, she said, approaching him with a data pad, I wanted you to look at this. The integration program you recommended, it's being adopted by 6 other stations. David took the pad, reading about the pilot program's expansion. Dozens of adapted individuals would gain the opportunity Mira received. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't justice. But it was a beginning. Your grandmother would be proud, he said. She is. Mira smiled warmly. And, Commander, I am too. You didn't have to risk anything for me. Yes, David said, feeling lighter than he had in years. I did. Sometimes courage isn't grand battles or heroic stands. Sometimes it's an older man in a quiet corridor deciding that following his conscience matters more than keeping his comfort. Sometimes it's a young woman with violet skin and cat ears reminding him that humanity isn't appearance. It's what you're willing to sacrifice for those you choose to care for.